The weirdest thing really is just how quiet it is in here. It's just this eerie silence that just it doesn't feel right. It feels really wrong in this house in particular for it to be just this quiet because it used to be so noisy in here. Like the way my grandmother was, she would talk to a complete stranger like they were best friends. And so when I was young and we were living down in Florida, and I was told that we were going to be moving back up because we needed to help Grandma out. I mean, I was excited. What do I know, right? I'm 13 years old. I'm going to go see my grandparents. So we moved back up here and we were staying in this house. And I remember it. I can literally see it. She would be sitting in her chair, like right over here. My parents and Grandpa were taking care of her and watching over her. And what I'd hear back from down the hallway was just screaming, right? Please, please kill me. Just stop, make it stop. Which is a lot for just a couple kids to be listening to, right?
Trigeminal neuralgia can be a hard disease to understand. To truly grasp what it is, it's important to talk with a professional in medicine, such as Kim Deaver at UCF's College of Nursing.
Okay, so trigeminal neuralgia involves your fifth cranial nerve, which is your trigeminal nerve, and you have one on either side of your skull, and it comes out at the base of your skull, and it has 3 branches. Most people describe it as electrical, burning, shooting, stabbing, and it comes in waves of attacks. People with trigeminal neuralgia have a high rate of suicide. The pain is unrelenting, and they know it's not going to go away. If they're having attacks, the neuralgia attacks, it's like waiting for another one to come. Sometimes they keep coming. They'll call them rolling attacks, where they just come one after the other. And so it's very difficult to live a life in so much pain. It can come to the point where you are living your life in bed because you just are hiding and trying to stay as still as possible because anything can trigger an attack. Emotions, talking, eating, crying, wind, anything, something touching your cheek will trigger the attack. The surgery that they do a lot of times is called a microvascular decompression. And they do a craniotomy, meaning they drill a circular hole at the back of the skull behind the ear. And they go to the root of the nerve, and they will put these felted Teflon pads between the vessels and the nerve.
The only person that can describe how bad the pain truly is somebody that lived through it, such as Patsy Young, who suffered from glossoneuralgia in the throat for 15 years.
It's really hard to adequately describe those shocks because the only way I could tell people is that it's like if you've ever stuck your finger in a light socket, it's like somebody stuck electrical shock right here. It was so excruciating, so intense. Honestly, I tried to do everything I could. I tried to hold still. I tried to not talk. Although the shocking sensation didn't last a long time, it was a matter of seconds that it lasted. those were such excruciating seconds. I couldn't swallow. I didn't want to swallow. I couldn't swallow my own saliva because it would start a shock. It would initiate a shock in my throat. And so initially I was too afraid to have the surgery. I thought, because there's risk. There's the risk of going deaf.
With the surgery, the microvascular decompression, you are drilling a hole in the skull and you're going into the brain. That's a really small area. That's why it's called a microvascular decompression. They use a microscope to do it. The cranial nerves sometimes are close together. Your eighth cranial nerve is your hearing nerve, and that's very close to your fifth. So sometimes that could get involved.
It was 14 years before I actually agreed to have the surgery. But so I ended up having this microvascular decompression. And the minute I woke up, I've never had a shock since.